All right, so featured artists of the night, all poets and heroes from down the street in Syracuse. I've been over there a few times, fairgrounds a few times, but that's pretty much about it for me. I'm from Indiana originally and been in Rochester for about 10 years, so I don't really know much about where you guys are from, but how you doing? Welcome.
We're doing
Good. Thanks
great.
for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been in touch for a while. We reviewed your music a few weeks ago, and then it's so good we decided to have you back. And one of the reasons that I really like you guys is your lyric videos are really cool and animated, and more than just your lyric video, your lyric video. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? Tell us about who you are and a little bit about the wine song, or not the wine song, but wine song, the song about wine. Wait, anyway, and then we'll listen and come back and get deeper with Dave.
All right. Well, I mean, we call ourselves All Poets and Heroes because we try to write music about everyday life and the problems that come up within that, whether it be poverty, mental health. We use a lot of metaphorical things. You don't like to directly address it because we want to leave it open to interpretation. Listeners' interpretation for us personally, I think our view is that means everything because music's a sense of escape. And if you kind of say this subject's about that subject, then people feel like they have to be directed towards it, and we kind of like to just let them have at it. The name comes from All Poets and Heroes. It's not us calling ourselves All Poets and Heroes. It's from a book called Walden by Henry David Thoreau. We were originally called Walden, but there's a whole issue why we couldn't call ourselves Walden. And we talked about it, and eventually we came to this conclusion that everybody is a poet and a hero in their own way. Obviously musicians, but even, single mothers, even the incarcerated, think how many rap artists, they've written rap in jail and stuff,
right.
So everyone's a poet here in their own way. And we think that's a beautiful thing. And we just thought, it's kind of a mouthful, but at least it has some meaning behind it. So there's that.
It's definitely unique.
Thank you. Yeah. And as for the lyric video, that was a friend of mine that Rob and I just reached out to. His name's Jeff Moore. He's wickedly talented. He was in the corporate world for a while doing graphic design stuff, and I worked with him in a restaurant. Just some weird little way it worked out, and I was like, "Hey, try your hand at it," and it turned into a cool little collab.
Sweet. So let's go ahead and check out your new single. Just came out a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Wine
week
song.
Or two ago.
Cool. Wine song. And then we'll be right back and get deeper with Dave.
Sounds good.
Everything feels like pins and needles stabbing me, like a wandering limb still sleeping. You burn out quick, like the cigarette in my breath. I'll have to clear my head for this. Can we be present? I want to ring in the new year, like the glass in your hand. I hang like the lipstick on in this wine. We sing for swim.
Well, I'm hoping you guys aren't perpetually tethered by a single earbud just in your daily lives when you walk.
Yeah, no,
around.
actually all the time.
Yeah,
we're just
this is how
walking
we
around
walk
like
around,
this.
yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, that's how I walk around.
We're actually Siamese twins. You just can't see it because of the.
Yeah, like you're connected at the hip, but that's just it's just a diversion to what
Yeah.
is going on.
Like a
down
2020
low.
growth defect.
Yeah, right.
No, man. Yeah, we played your music before. Obviously, we were talking about the Ray LaMontagne influence. That's cool that your ma is a big fan of that. But yeah, I mean, you guys have been getting a lot of press. I was just kind of doing some little Googling, and in these reviews I was reading, it's like there's so many different bands that they kind of like mention.
We like a lot of bands.
Yeah, but I mean, I want to give my input on this because there's a few of them I really didn't hear. It's like one guy mentioned Jeff Buckley, which maybe just a touch in the vocal delivery, but not in the sound. Like I don't really hear a similar style there. I don't hear Death Cab for Cutie. That was another one that was mentioned. It was just a totally different style. Maybe a little Radiohead. That was another one, just in terms of the ambient rock and everything. That's getting a little closer. But I mean, I was really feeling more like mid to late '90s alt rock. You know, just kind of along the lines of like the ambient alt rock, even like more pop influence, because I think you guys just have a touch more pop flavor to your sound.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like Toad the Wet Sprocket. I'm thinking who else was the other band? Oh, I can't remember them right now. But so I guess I wanted to just what's that?
Pavement. Pavement's a big one for us. We do love Pavement.
Yeah, Pavement.
All those in that. Yeah, maybe even some grunge, I guess. But I don't know, we're kind of sporadic with our influences, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that was my first question. Is like, I mean, I hear all these different bands, but I mean, I want to hear from you guys. Like, who are your heroes? Who kind of helped develop your sound?
A lot.
Yes,
a lot.
so
Yeah.
many
I mean,
people.
my first was David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. That was my hands down first one where I was just like, I want to learn how to do that. I remember I was listening to Time, and I was in a car with my dad, and I heard that solo for the first time. I was like, I want to like learn how to do that. So David Gilmour's a huge one. That whole band was. Then eventually, you know, I went through all the classics like the Who, Led Zeppelin stuff, and then I got in the '90s stuff like Oasis. I love Noel Gallagher, you know, the Gallagher Brothers and all that. Radiohead was a huge one. That's probably my personal biggest one. Just a lot. I definitely more hip hop. I know, like we do listen. You probably don't hear it in Wine Song, but there's another song in our album called Okilism. That's a very like Boards of Canada kind of like more electronic, you know, Warp Records kind of influence. Like I said,
Even like singer-songwriter stuff too. Like, you know, modern day for me is like Ben Howard.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I used to be ashamed to say this, and I'm no longer ashamed to say this, but I love John Mayer. I think he's fantastic. So like that's probably like where you're getting that pop influence is probably from me there.
Hey man, it's hard to knock a guy who's had, you know, global fame like that.
Right.
Yeah, he's definitely had some massive hits, so you got to respect that.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the mayor thing, it makes me laugh sometimes because I've seen him on a bunch of like just one of those just collective jams on stage where he's with BB King and like Derek Trucks, and I'm just like, what is he doing there? like Derek Trucks and BB King, and then you throw John Mayer. It's like, I don't know. It's just kind of
He's all over the place too, though. He has some cool ones. He's covered Radiohead. He did Kid A by Radiohead. And even to this day, I'm still trying. He covered Jeff Buckley. I'm still trying to learn Neon too. I'll never know that song. I'll never have that song down.
Yeah, the skill it takes to play some of his music.
The hardest song I've ever tried to play.
The skill it takes to play some of his music is ridiculous. Like some of our friends who are extremely good guitar players just can't figure it out, and I don't blame them. I look at the tab for Neon and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so this upcoming album, I guess, it's a newly created word. Was it Okilism? Okilism. What does it mean?
Yeah.
I was in a YouTube rabbit hole one night, and I stumbled upon the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, which is this new
pseudo-philosophical.
Yeah, and basically what they did, I don't know who. I say they, it's like the Illuminati or something. They went through and just basically gave definitions to very, very specific feelings that we've all felt, but there's no like word. And I came across this one called Okilism, and it just means not, just to paraphrase it, basically just like accepting your smallness of your perspective, given how grand the universe is and how limited our time, our lifespans are. You can live 100 years, and that's barely half of a blink of an eye in regards to the universe. So that's what Vocalism is about. It's about accepting your place. And I've explained to people, and they think it's a little depressing, but I don't really
it's
think
not depressing. I mean,
No,
it's-
I think I think if anything, it's optimistic. It's almost liberating to hear that. It's almost liberating to know that you're going to have this maybe really small window. So why not try to make it as big as possible? Like, why not try to expand your perspective as big as you can in that limited window?
Or just live it really beautifully, and so. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's weird.
No,
but
I love it, man. I love new words, of course. I mean, that's but anyway, so what it's this question. I don't it's not my favorite question, but we kind of gotta ask pretty much everyone for the past 6 months is how you guys are kind of adapting just to this,
Oh, we've all developed alcoholism.
Yeah, okay. But what about in terms of just like continuing to get your music out there? Obviously live stream is helping and everything, but where are you guys at with like the possibility of touring? Are you just kind of playing it by ear, and what?
I think for right now we're kind of just decided that for safety of our any fans that would want to come out, and for not trying to necessarily stir the pot, or like it would be the worst thing in the world if we threw a show and like 5 people like, we got COVID because we went and saw All Poets and Heroes. Like that would suck. So we've kind of just been like, we're just postponing the year so we're just waiting till 2021 to see if hopefully this clears up, if there's a vaccine or whatever, which nobody seems to know the answer to.
No, it's like a post-nuclear type of like ecosystem, because it's like all of a sudden it's like, there's 5 people at that bar over there. It's like, maybe I'll walk around. It's just very slowly.
Right.
I think we're going to just start to have crowds gathering, but I think it's going to be a while, and it's going to. So how, like all of a sudden, just perfect example. Like I was just catching up on the NFL games. And I usually just watch the highlights, the past few weeks. It's like there's a few more people in the audience each week. They started with just family members, and then I think you're just starting to see more people scatter. And I think that's just it's like a microcosm, I think, of what's going to happen all over the place.
It's scary. It's weird. For us, we've just tried to not slow down. I think that's the biggest thing for artists right now, is to not just basically become a cog in the wheel. A lot of people are doing we'll live stream on Facebook, but when every single person is doing it, you become, I always say, like a needle in a needle stack. It's like, what the hell's the point, So we just really, like the lyric videos, we really honed down, hammered down those and just got them as tight and as well as we wanted to. Took a step back in our marketing plan for our album coming up, and we have some new stuff in the works that we've really been working on. That's what kept us really busy, demoing some new songs. So just really trying to keep internet presence up and be as creative as possible. And the cool thing about COVID, which that sounds really weird as it comes out of my mouth.
No,
it's made, I feel, us and a lot of other artists become much more creative in how we're going to approach the internet. But it used to just be social media. And now I think we're, everyone's starting to be like, everyone's doing social media. Everyone's like pushing to get likes and views. How are we going to do this in a different way? I mean, that's the ultimate question all the time, obviously, but it's really making us just like turn our wheels and start to get in that mindset of approaching things differently. So it's a slow burn, it's a pain in the ass, but you just got to get through it,
Well, I mean, I'm curious now. It's like you guys are both so, well-read and thoughtful. I think you guys express your views very well. I'm curious who writes your lyrics.
Both of us.
Yeah, both.
Mainly,
that's what I would have guessed. That's what I would have guessed.
I send Rob lyrics and he revises them because sometimes they're gibberish, but Rob does the majority of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good. It's fun to write together. We write separate and bring it to each other. We revise each other's stuff. It's a really fun process because it's just like there's no like, especially in the writing process, there's just like no ego, especially between us. Like it's just like, I trust you, you trust me. Let's make this the best thing possible.
And the band is not just Rob and I know we're here right now, but we have 3 other musicians in our band that are way more talented than both of us.
That's true.
And they're really great to work with. We have Zach Fitzgerald, who's on guitar. He does a lot of electronic production. Nash Rob, who does upright bass, electric bass, and he's a better guitar player than we are. And then Rob Zachariah, who's our drummer, and all of us, it's a very much a collective. And even with our lyrical content, they have like, hey, maybe if you did the phrase this way, or, you know, you switch the melody to this, you know, so we all are kind of working together to try and bring it full circle, I guess.
That's great to hear. All right. So the website, allpoetsandheroes.com, which looks like basically just it's like a holding company for your social links.
Yeah,
it's just a placeholder.
It's a landing page for sure.
It's currently in development.
Yeah, we're working on that. You know, the fun thing about being a musician is you're automatically rich, so you can just spend money all the time. No, like websites cost websites cost money, and
we have an amazing team at Flight Entertainment,
Yeah.
our label. They're amazing. They're really coming through with us, and they got some special things in the works. The thing that sucks is the internet. You can just see it right away. So
Right.
you got to kind of tell people like, hey, it's being developed.
Yeah.
So
Also, merchandise. Be on the lookout.
yes,
Be
we
on
will
the
have
lookout.
merchandise.
We'll have
So
a shop
Cool.
up soon.
that's our main. That's our first
Yeah, big
priority with
focus
that.
right
So
now.
All right, guys. It was awesome hanging out with you, man. Please
right
come
back at you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please
for
come
sure.
back.